From the forges of creation to the tables of imagination, this is Behind the Chaos, and welcome to episode 4. I'm your co-host, Javier, and this is
Pedro.
And today we're going to be talking about characters, how to build them, specifically in D&D. And we're going to first introduce our brand new co-host, as I mentioned in our episode 3. So this is Pedro. Pedro has been a good friend of mine for about 4 years now. And he is the founder and CEO of Prime Layers. He helps design and 3D print models. So we are always collaborating together. This is yet another project that we're collaborating on, and we're super excited to have him on board.
Thank you, Javier, for having me. And on this episode and the upcoming ones, try to do my best.
I'm sure it'll be fine. So let's dive right into it. Today we're going to talk about D&D, and the first 3 episodes for us was about how it began for me at that time, and kind of who dragged me into it, and how we started the journey as a party. So first, tell the audience how was that for you? How were the first steps in D&D? What kind of made you think, this is something that I want to try? And tell us a little bit more about your story.
Okay, it's a little bit short because I'm only been into D&D for probably 2 years, 1 year and a half, I guess.
Yeah,
2 years, 1.5. And my first real contact into D&D was through you, and the campaign that you were running with the other guys at work.
Yeah.
I've known about D&D since long before that. Contact through media, movies, games. I used to do a lot of games, PC gaming. And also that, shooters, and also RPG.
Oh, nice.
And I guess one thing, if you're into RPGs, normally you know a little bit of D&D because I guess everything is based on or goes back to the original role-playing game, or I don't know, the most popular.
And D&D has been now for 50 years, I guess 51st.
Exactly.
It can be considered as one of the OGs, I guess.
Exactly. So I guess I'm known about D&D from that, but never played it. Just from what you were talking about in the previous episodes, I first never had a real or close friend that was into that, and was not motivated to go and look for people to do so. My first real D&D experience was the campaign that we played with you.
Yeah.
Well, actually, the first one was the one day that I went to that campaign, and I spent most of the time knocked out because I didn't know what else to do, right? So, but yes, and after that, I guess I've been part of a few one-shots, the ones we did with Vitor, and the ones you run, I think we run
It's been 2 now, yeah.
Yeah, and our campaign.
We have yet to finish.
It's finished already.
So I think kind of looking back at what I discussed last episode, finding a group can be quite challenging, right? Finding a group can be a huge barrier of entry to the game, and that's really unfortunate, right? I remember that how we kind of started the whole D&D group at work was because I think the movie had come out, and then someone was talking.
Oh yeah,
right? Someone was talking about D&D, and then potentially doing something
among thieves.
Movie, right? Honor Among Thieves. Yeah. So when that started, right, I think a couple of our coworkers got kind of excited, and we were just chatting in between breaks and whatnot, and they were mentioning, we don't have a DM. We don't have a DM, right?
You took advantage of that.
Yes, I did. And I'm like, I'm going to get everyone to play at work. But I think one of the things that I said in my last episode was talking about your hobby, right? And how that is important to going into it, because if we would have never talked about it, if I wouldn't have kind of like stepped in and said, hey, like, yeah, I know how to DM, I would gladly DM your game. Let's kind of set it up and this and that. Mind you, guys, this was brand new players all across the board, with the exception of one, actually.
I think two.
Oh, yeah, Joe did play. You're right.
And who are
Joe
you
and
talking
Andrew.
about?
Yeah.
Oh, Andrew, no?
And Andrew.
Yeah,
Okay,
so
never
three.
mind.
So three people
half
knew.
The group, half the group was
No.
experienced with at least one campaign. But I think it was just more of, the more you talk to the people around you with your hobby, the more you can find that, you might have common interests and will get you into playing, right?
Yeah. I think that's how it goes for probably everything, right?
Yeah.
Even gaming. Like, not everybody's just talking about gaming, but if you let it out, somebody else will say, oh, I also like it, I'm into that, so let's do something. And I guess that's how it came up, or came together. Because at first I didn't join because I didn't know how to play.
Yeah.
And then I went because of a barbecue. And then
that's how I met them.
Actually joined. But then after that campaign died out.
Yeah.
I guess also that's another limiting factor of D&D is that if you're gonna play in presence or in real life, timing is, or the time of people, commitments and stuff.
Scheduling is tough.
Very hard. Yeah.
So kind of, if you can recall back to that first time you went to the basement that we were playing at, how I remember that you kind of came in and, like you said, you played all of maybe 10 minutes and then we were knocked out. Down
the
whole session.
First encounter just knocked out. I was rescued or revived. How do you say it? Well, revived, but I wasn't dead. So
you were brought back to
I stand
to 1 HP.
Yes. And within, I guess, 2 actions, I was down again. So that was most of my first session into D&D.
So that's interesting, right? So the first try that you had and you went through it was a little bit lackluster, I would say, because again you were in it and then got taken out, and then you spent out of the 3 hours that I think we used to play, you probably spent at least a solid 2 of them completely out. And then for that particular campaign, we had a giant group, right? We were playing with maybe 6-7 players.
7, I think, yeah.
So the amount of time that you got to actually interact and play was very limited. What was one of the things that you kind of came up and said, hey, I'm going to actually continue playing? Like, why did you continue playing?
So I think, I think it was in person. Since it was in person, I think it was the interaction between everybody at the table, because even though I wasn't doing anything in the game, I was like just listening in on how other people approach whatever they were doing, and probably thinking to myself like, oh, I guess I wouldn't do that, or if I would have done that, I wouldn't be knocked out. So because it was my first try, so I was like, could I have done that and maybe avoided my this? So just looking at the interactions and how they play their character also gave me some ideas of what to do if I had the chance to like redo it again, because I guess moving into the topic of the day is character creation. The first time I did it, I didn't know anything. You gave me some pointers, but I just went with the rogue because sounded cool. Knife and stuff, and I didn't have any backstory, like interesting backstory. I just a rogue, a thief, I guess.
Tragic history, tragic background,
the usual stuff, and like seeing or watching the other people and their characters and how they behave or portray their character. That was interesting. And I think I wanted to continue playing, even though that campaign died out, I guess. Then on the second time that I didn't recycle that character for our own campaign, and I tried to do a better job of creating the character.
Yeah, I think Sagar was good. I think like the second time around that you went through it was a lot better. So what are some of the things that you maybe used to build that character? The second one.
AI.
Well, AI coming to you.
Yeah, I used ChatGPT,
Okay.
but I gave the instructions, right? I didn't do like all the backstory, everything.
Yeah.
I gave some pointers of what I wanted, and then AI filled the gaps, connected the points, did what.
So when you say
AI
like
does.
connected points and stuff, like are you talking specifically like flavor wise, or did you like go into the prompt and say like I want the strongest character build possible?
No, for example,
I want to fuck over my DM.
No. I never did that. So the idea was, okay, I didn't want just a thief or I guess the stereotypical character that first players use.
Yeah, which I think are usually barbarians, thieves, rogues, and fighters, right?
Well, so
based characters.
I got a fighter because also I didn't know or I still don't know how to use the magic slots and this and that. So
that can be
I went with melee, but I went with a fighter, and I guess Sager, that's the name of the second character, had I guess a complete backstory and like a goal. I would say that was the main thing. Like first, I thought of okay, what do I want to do with this guy, and then that was the goal, and then I basically backtrace to okay, this is the goal. Let me then have some story to make him to make the final moment his goal, but I guess lacking some stuff that he would have gotten during the campaign.
Yeah. Well, I think it's purpose, right? Like building a character with some type of purpose or like you said, goal. Like it could be the short term goal or a long term goal is important to build that connection to your character, right?
Yeah. I don't know about the connection because the thing is, thinking back into that, I just wanted to have fun. I guess that's a scene of a new player. I saw the previous episodes and you were talking about the connection and how things turn different once you play a long time with the same character. But I just came in looking for a interesting story and a goal. So I have, like you said, purpose. And I guess, that's what I did. So the goal was for him to become a farmer, right?
Yes.
And
get a plot of land.
Yes. However possible. And then he was on the opposite side of that because he was a military man.
Yeah.
That was cast out of the military. So basically, he needed to go to C, but he was an A. So he didn't know anything about farming, but that was his goal.
Yeah.
So that's how I structured it. Then AI came into it. I said, I want this a military man. I want him to be retired or cast out. Yeah. So he used to be, I guess, high rank. Give me something
almost
that
like retired military man.
Give me something that makes sense, and then I got some results. And I don't like this, I like that. Like this guy is into. He was a dragonborn, so he doesn't like any dragonborns. He just likes big like dragonborns, whatever, big tail dragonborn ladies. He was red, so he doesn't like red dragonborns. He likes blue and green. Whatever. So like just to throw some like quirks flavor, into it and just to make it, I guess, more different or dynamic.
Yeah.
That's the story part. I guess one of the hardest thing to do was the what's the name of the things?
Backstory.
The weaknesses.
Oh yeah.
The weaknesses that you have to put into the story, I guess, to make it so you are not invincible.
Let me stop you right there, and I'm gonna kind of break the fourth wall here and talk to you guys for a second. So when we started as a DM, I recommended to the guys that the part of the character sheet that has ideals, bonds, flaws, and values, I think it is, is all very, very important because it will help you role play your character in a much deeper level. And then it becomes less as what would Pedro would do, and it would be more of what would Sagar do in those situations that you get put on, right? So just as a quick kind of add-on, we are going to be at the end of the video be providing either a link or an extension to the video or podcast to go through how we build characters step by step through D&D and beyond. So make sure to check that out. But yeah, so you were talking about ideals, right, and character flaws. So why was that so difficult?
Because when you, for example, just looking back into my gaming days,
Yeah,
I know that when you're fighting, certain roles have strength
yeah,
that they use, and that's their role.
yeah. You could be a healer, a tank.
Exactly.
Yeah,
So if you're gonna be a melee, like you don't want to weaken yourself too much.
yeah.
Like, but you have to do something, otherwise, it's not that fun. I don't know
Yeah.
how to
Well,
put
yeah,
it into words.
if you're the perfect character, then you
it's
have nothing to overcome, right?
exactly.
So it just becomes a game of kind of hacking and slashing your way through the story, which can be very fun at first, but I think after your second or third session, you're kind of over it. You're kind of like, okay, what can I do next? What's the purpose of my character, right? And I feel like a lot of people make this mistake at the beginning where they build a character based on just stats, right? They just go and say, okay, I'm going to be a rogue. I'm going to, have my dexterity up to the nines, and I'm going to have I'm gonna have
super smart.
Yeah, I'm gonna have
super
this like
charisma, like everything, right? Yeah.
And then you go into in game, right? And then you're faced with situations that maybe are not specifically designed for a rogue, and then you're going like, well,
I can do it because I'm perfect.
Yeah, exactly. Right? So then
Yeah.
it kind of gives you a bit of a limiting factor of like, oh well, okay, what do I do this session, right? And I think like that's the number one thing that can sometimes stunt people going or keep going into new sessions, because then they're like, well, I didn't talk much last session, but well, is that because you tried to build a perfect character and didn't give yourself enough room to be able to grow in any scenario, or is that because you didn't want to participate, right?
Yes, that's one thing of the character building that is kind of lacking, I guess, because so the way I see it is you want to go into a story with some base, but that is not the end goal. Is you go into the story to develop the character, and then
that's another thing that
to get it to get it to the end point of whatever you want to do with this character. So if you start with everything that you need, you're basically One Punch Man.
Yeah.
Well, you're just going through the story, just killing stuff, and
well, and what drives me nuts is that sometimes people do the complete opposite, right? They don't mention everything they started or how like their story is gonna unfold, but then they mention an ending too. So it's almost like their backstory is just their story, right? So you like it's kind of like going like, okay, Sagar lost his land, recouped it, learned how to grow tomatoes. Now he's a successful tomato grower, businessman, and then that's it. And then you're like, well, what?
Okay, what else do you wanna?
Yeah, like, that's it. Well, what do you like as a DM? You're just kind of like, well, okay, what's his purpose now, right? Like you introduced the backstory that then you completed yourself, right? And I think like one of the most important things when you're building backstories is keep some of the mystery, right? So that you can work with your DM to develop that throughout the story, right? And give him plot hooks that he can use, or sorry, they can use to really bring that character and that persona out.
Now that you mentioned that, I was thinking about something of the sorts.
Elsa?
No, no. So let's say I have my character, and I guess just for the audience to see how a DM thinks, right?
Yeah.
I have my character, and let's say I'm not a good player, and I have some abilities. I go through the story that you throw at me or that I want to do, and I guess I will do a few things that are not, let's say, 100% aligned with how my character will act. because I don't know how to role play, or maybe I forgot some details of my own story.
Yeah, that happens all the time.
Yes, but do you think that in those cases it's up to the DM to either put the limit, or if he let it go, that will transform that character? Like, okay, now that he did that, like, okay, you are in a certain way moving towards that and not what you were originally.
Yeah. Well, I think it's a very dynamic approach, right? Like just like in life, right? When we go through lessons and experiences, they change you, right?
Exactly.
And I think if you want to keep kind of true to that, as a DM, you have the options to discuss that with the person who has the character, right? I'm not the fan of doing that in game of like, oh wait, you can't do that.
Oh, that's what I was thinking. Like, hey,
that's not what your character would do.
Remember last session when you killed the lady? That was innocent. Now, I don't know, man. You cannot save it.
Yeah. So
you either don't do anything or you just kill her again.
Yeah,
that's what you are now.
So yeah, that for me is like I won't stop the player when they're deciding their actions.
Okay.
I would definitely go up to them at the end of the session and then just say, hey, your actions have repercussions, and I just want to make sure that what you're doing is what you want to develop your character in, right? Because like you said, right, like there's moments where like people go and say like, well, the easiest example I can think of is, I'm a paladin. I stand up for what's holy and
justice and
whatnot, right? And although you can always make the argument that justice is subjective, at the end of the day, well, like if you have this holy knight that's just murdering anyone that gets in their way,
especially orcs,
then you can are you actually a holy knight, right? And then you dive into the deepness of the lore and the mechanics of the game, right? And that will depend on your DM's experience as well as the player's experience, where you can say like, well, okay, because of that, maybe your character lost some of its abilities, right?
Or nice, yeah. I was thinking about it. So I guess the DM can issue penalties like, okay, like now you're not that holy or just. So I guess you lost some of your charisma or some of your whatever.
Yeah,
I don't know.
There's many ways to kind of penalize, right? Like you can either go and say, well, okay, now you lost like a -1 to your charisma stat, or if you don't want to be that damning, like you can be more of like, okay, maybe your religion goes -1, right? If you're talking about deities and believement in God and how your powers become into the real world, right? Or you can be a person that would just go like, well, now your God has abandoned you, right? So you can go super deep, right? And it's like, well, will you be contacted by evil gods now because you've done evil deeds, right? And then you can kind of play it however you like. But I do definitely think that how you develop your character and your actions as a character should develop your backstory, right? But I would just consult with you, right?
Okay.
So I would give you ideas. For example, if that happens, I would kind of throw at you and say like, hey, what do you prefer? Like you've been acting in an evil way. This is.
Are you not whatever you want to do?
Yeah, like you're not really a paladin anymore. Like, what path do you want to take? Do you want to go an oathbreaker path? Do you want to go like, meeting new deities? Maybe you want to change into a warlock, make a contract with a demon, right? And then sign that away, and then now you have these new powers, right? So I think like leave room for expression and what you would do, because at the end of the day, it's your story.
Yeah.
Right. Now, if the character goes and says, "My bad, I didn't I kind of metagamed a little bit and I wasn't supposed to do that," then you give them a couple of free chances.
Okay. Yeah.
And then you come down with a hammer at them later.
I mean, yes, if they continue doing that, sure. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So I was thinking about it, and yeah, makes sense. And if the DM is good, I guess keeps track of those mishaps.
Yeah. So like
at some point, okay, no more luck.
Yeah. So this kind of reminds me a little bit of
blind roll and then.
Yeah. This kind of reminds me a little bit of how you started, right?
Who?
You as in Sagar.
Oh.
Right, because you were a character that very much. How do I say this delicately?
Go for it.
Made people pay for nice actions.
I wasn't a paladin.
No, you weren't, right? But yeah, you behaved more like a mercenary than anything else, right? Like there always had to be gold,
But he was.
Yeah, it wasn't until I think we had a discussion where it was like, oh, okay, now I understand like how your character works and how you want your character to be portrayed. But based on your backstory, right? Like I think, guys, you got to try to remember, right? We can only read what you tell us and what you put in your backstory, right? So in his case, it was more like, oh, okay, I'm an ex-military man, had a farm, lost the farm, trying to gain back a farm, right? In no way there was like, oh, I'm a ruthless mercenary that like just wants coin. Ruthless.
I never killed. Saga never killed anybody for money. He was just doing missions, and he wanted to clarify the reward ahead of time. I guess depends on how you look at it. Exactly, but the thing is, yes, in the backstory. So in this scenario, he lost everything, and like he wanted back, and yeah, he was after money. So justice was, I mean, his justice was his justice.
Yeah.
He wanted money. And that's how it went. So every time there was a reward, there was negotiation just to clarify the conditions to get that reward. Is it dead or alive? How much money? Can we get a half?
Every life had a deposit on it.
So, but that's how it went with him. But yeah, I guess everybody makes up their own story. Yeah. And I guess the point here is to leave room for, I guess, improvement, for the interactions that happen in the game, because I guess that's also important. Characters from the other players get new experiences that they can incorporate into whatever, or motivate them to act in a certain way.
Yeah.
Just because you are in a party. So if you're in a party, you have to agree on the actions that the party is gonna take.
Yeah, I think as a group, right?
Like, let's kill this the orcs that we kill. We all agree on killing the orcs because the orcs are creatures that do bad things.
Yeah, they have negative alignment, right?
Turns out they are now not that bad. Who knew? We didn't know anything. So
yeah,
but yeah.
Yeah, I think yeah, and honestly, that's a great tip on characters and then how to work as a team or as a party. Because yeah, like you got to remember, you're not only working with the DM to develop your character and kind of like what you want to do with your character, but you're also a part of a team, right? So guys, don't be that person, right? Don't be the person that is pushing their way through and making their ideals and their way of fun kind of be dominant at the table. Make sure that you leave space for everybody. Everyone's trying to tell a story. And, like I always tell my players in session 0, which is going to be another episode of Behind the Chaos, is how would what would your character really do, right? Because a lot of people go into their backstory saying like, I'm this, super strong, undefeated champion that just messes with anybody. So, come at me, anybody. And then they start attacking random people. Just
NPCs, challenging NPCs. Bad idea. NPCs. Even if they're retired.
Yeah. So then, you can put some of the people who are not always looking for a fight in awkward positions, or you can kind of be a story hog sometimes. So, that can happen. But I think we've kind of talked a lot about the dynamics of a backstory. Let's talk about how your experience was when you were actually putting everything down on paper, or I guess we didn't really do paper, but it was more D&D and beyond, right?
Okay.
So how is that? Like, what would you rate that character builder first of all?
I mean,
out of 10.
I guess it is okay. Out of 10, I would say strong 7.
Okay.
Improvements. I guess the different versioning of the game, it is there's too much. And when you're going through the selections, usually you have, if you don't select the right version, then you get different abilities that might sound okay, and then you talk to the DM like, "Hey, this is what I have." Oh no, that's not the version that we're gonna play, or that's not the new rules. and then you change it, and then where is my ability? And then you have to reread everything, like just to see how to, I guess, play the character.
Yeah.
That part was the most annoying. I guess we had a few misunderstandings regarding the versions or the rules that we are gonna use for the campaign.
So granted, guys, when we started playing that campaign, it was we were basing it on the 2014 rulebook, and then 2024 rulebook was kind of coming out. So there was a bunch of beta tests as well. So and then I think it was maybe our 5th session is when the full 2024 book came out.
Oh, and we did an update.
So then we did like an update, and then that was a little bit confusing. So to Pedro's point, sometimes when you're playing in between versions and stuff like that, it can get kind of confusing. So I think they could have worked on that a little bit better.
Also, because I believe, if I'm not mistaken, that when the update happened, I don't know if it was by default, like we got new things. I remember the feats.
Yeah.
Like all of a sudden you have some new abilities that you didn't know about, and then maybe the other characters read about it and say, hey, why don't you do that? What are you talking about?
Yeah.
Oh, I have that now, and then so that, I guess, is not very user friendly. Yeah. But everything else, like rolling for even I remember a few of the guys did it in person, rolling for the stats.
Yeah. That's a cool feature they have.
Yeah, and also doing it through the app is okay. What else?
But when you had to go and actually like pick out your character, right? Like again, from a new player perspective, you click on a link, right, which is usually sent by the DM or whatever. You click on a link, you go build character, right? And then now you're just met with a series of steps or a series of kind of like information dump, right? Like so how is that as a first player, right? Like you're kind of going into the website, and then now you have to select between
15 classes,
13 classes, or whatever it is, right? So how did you come to one? What did you do, and then how was it something that you kind of felt comfortable with saying, yeah, this is what I want to play?
So I guess it's too much information.
Yeah.
Just throw at you at once, and that's, I guess, the first one that I did, the rogue. That's why I went with the rogue, because it felt familiar, just a thief.
Yeah, there's a lot of video games, right? That kind of
basically, video game class, just thief, high ability, high dexterity, intelligence, whatever. So easy. I went with that because of that. Because I was reading the description of, I guess, barbarian is also, I guess, easy, just a berserk. But some of the other not melee classes,
they can get confusing.
Yes, because then you start reading like, you have 3 magic slugs to what are the lesser cantrips, and what is this? How do I use them? Like, and then
what's the point of them?
You ask for an explanation, and this, if you use, that's it. What? Then what do I do?
Yeah.
Like those are, I guess, for more advanced players, I think, because you need to plan more in order to get into those classes.
Yeah.
Because
it's a lot more reading, it's a lot more investment.
And there are, I don't know, 50 cantrips, different cantrips.
Depends.
There's tons.
Depends what class you're choosing and stuff. But at least you have 20.
Exactly.
Usually.
And the spells are also a ton that you can choose from, whatever. Then you meet some conditions, you can change them. So I think those it's a little complicated to get into those classes, being a new player. So that's why I went with the rogue, and then I guess a little more difficult, the fighter. But yes, like the interface, it's okay. You just get all the information in there. What you don't see directly is, let's say, the progression of the character.
The skill tree, kind of.
Yes, like it's not visual.
Well, there is, but there isn't, right? So because if you go into the options and you go and you select your level, right? There's a little tick at the top, and then you can select your level. If you go to like level 5, it'll show you all the stuff that you need to fill out.
But you are level nothing.
Yeah.
So you don't know that. Like, it'd be nice, like in the video games in the computer, that you go in, you see everything is grayed out, and then, okay, I'm here, I have access to these two,
Yeah.
Okay, I'm level 2. Okay, I have to do these 2 more. Okay, then the 3 more, then 4. Like you don't see that directly, and then you don't know like what's gonna happen.
Yeah, not everyone has access to the player's handbook, right? So all this information you can find in the player's handbook, and you can see it kind of by blocks, right? You can see level 1, level 3, level 5, level whatever.
I want to see a diagram.
Yeah,
like a diagram.
I mean, a diagram would be
everything
a lot better, right? So D&D and Beyond, work on a diagram if you ever see this Beyond the Chaos podcast.
Yeah, sure.
But yeah, no, I think like a diagram, kind of like a skill tree, would definitely
a skill tree. That's it.
Help a lot. But then, see, the thing is, you have a lot of options, right? It depends, like, because then you get into subclasses, right?
That's also another.
It can get very complicated to show it in a diagram, right?
But you can do it for one class, and that's it.
Yeah.
Once you figure out one class, if you are actually doing multi-class, it means you are an advanced player because.
Well, but it's not multi-classing, right? Multi-classing is for our new players, right? Multi-classing can be, being, for example, a rogue and a barbarian at the same time, even though these kind of contradict. But you can do so if you want.
Well, it depends because you need to have the stats.
Yeah, that's right.
To be a barbarian.
Yeah, you're right.
Which I didn't know.
Yeah.
I didn't want to be a barbarian, but I remember with the fighter, I was looking into probably do something else, and then I said, I don't have the skills to actually be that. So it's limiting to what you have. So it gotta be aligned.
Yeah, I think if I remember correctly, you wanted to be a cleric.
I think so. Something like that.
And you didn't have the ability score to be able to multi-class.
Yeah.
But I guess the difference, right, between multi-classing and subclass is a subclass is once you get to level 2 or level 3, depending what version you're
I know. Okay, now I understand.
Right, then you get to choose a bunch of different types of subclasses. So again, in a rogue one, you would be able to choose trickster, and then you would kind of learn a couple of magic spells and cantrips, or you would kind of go into I think there was one that was called either executioner or not spy. It was something like that, either executioner or like something about just unaliving a lot of people quickly. And then there are a couple more, right? Depending on how many books you own, then you can have that. So I guess that's a feature that also, from a DM's perspective, it can be kind of annoying. Where, on the one hand, it's good because if you own a lot of digital books, then you guys would have access to like so many subclasses and so many races and so many kind of added content. But then on the other hand, it's kind of annoying because then it'd be nice to have a couple of freebies more than just a standard, right? I think.
I don't know. What I think is I'm thinking about our group and like initiating into the game. Yeah, I think too many classes for beginners. I think the less classes you get, the easier it is to get into the game. And I guess once you reach the goal of that character, or just die, or just move on.
Yeah.
Just you advance into, I don't know, a different level of, okay, now you know how to play, good. Now play these classes, more interesting, more in-depth, more strategy, more abilities. But starting out, there are classes that are out there to say impossible to play for a new player. Because you have to pay attention to
so many
the mechanics and also role-playing.
Yeah.
And you either forget about role-playing or you just throw fireballs and that's it, because you don't know what else to do, because there's so many abilities that you don't know how to put together.
Yeah.
And that was happening to me with the fighter. We were just level 3, and I was forgetting how to what was the thing? Parry. Exactly. How to parry, how to double attack, how to.
Yeah.
Just because you are in the moment and I'm trying to role play, somebody attack me. I take the damage, whatever. But you had abilities to work through that. You just forgot about because.
So there are a lot of
many.
Kind of like, again, Chaotic Studios does a lot of different things to kind of like enhance characters and stuff like that. We focus more on the miniatures and how to kind of like bring those alive through visualization. But from a mechanic point of view, there's a lot of other people out there that do, for example, like cards. Would that have been something that like helped you? Like if you had like physical cards in front of you saying like, maybe some of the stuff that some of the abilities that you might have had?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just to, I don't know. I'm not picturing the cars that you are, I guess, imagine or that you know of.
Yeah.
The ones that I'm picturing are probably with the sequence of actions for me to maximize my character. For example, and just going back to forgetting things.
Yeah.
I have so many different abilities, and I was even getting more. We just level 3. That if I were to attack, I remember that I could. I was able to attack once, then do one of the bonus actions to attack again, and this and that, and then so sometimes you just forget. You're attacking. That's it done. Let the other person do his thing. But so having just, I guess, the cards that you used to study with just pointers like oh, if you do this, you can do this and that. Okay. If somebody happens that is this, or you can do this and that.
Yeah, so you want like a character cheat sheet.
Exactly. As a new player, I think that would be very helpful.
Yeah. Okay.
And as you get more abilities, you can even useful to develop strategies.
Yeah.
Just on how to if I'm going to an encounter with whatever, I can activate this first, then wait for an action, do this, do that, like kind of those things. Because it was happening to me a lot that I forgot that I had certain abilities that I could use, and I guess people die because of that, or took unnecessary damage and made the situation worse.
Yeah.
So I guess,
can remember a couple of times, where you forgot completely, kind of like to do some of those actions.
And then as soon as something you turn past, you say, "Oh, I could have done this." Then you feel like, "Oh my god, if these people die, then it will be on me."
Yeah. So guys, comment on the video if you want to either develop something like that, or if you know of a person that has something similar, or just if you would be interested. I think let us know, and as CEO of Chaotic Studios and owner, we can help develop something if that's something that you guys would be interested in. So you quickly kind of mentioned retiring a character.
Yep.
Right. You mentioned kind of going either because something tragic happened to it, or because
hopefully no, just keeping it alive and reaching the goal.
Yeah. Reaching the goal.
Retiring.
Right? So I guess that kind of, I'm kind of trying to pick your brain of when is it time to retire a character? And this is more for our kind of advanced or medium to advanced players, where maybe they've been playing for a campaign for about a year. And I've been in the situation both as a DM and a player where either one of my players gets super annoyed already with their character and then just kind of want to be done with it, or even myself where I'm kind of I'm having fun, but I kind of want to spice it up, right? So, what are some ways that you think would be good to retire a character? Or what are some points maybe in the story, and I know each story is different, but maybe some ways that people can do that?
Well, I first, I guess the ideal way to go out of the story is not dying, whatever that is.
Yeah,
not dying.
That's the most fun part
for the end, but not for the character. Dying. I haven't killed a character yet, but I think, especially if you are deep into a campaign, that can be not that motivating to continue playing.
Oh, so you think it's unmotivating
to being killed?
I mean, I don't know. I think I think for me, it's not exciting either. But I think for me, it's it's almost like opening a new book, right?
But what happened with the last one? Just burn it and forget about it.
The book's done, right? And I think
but it's not done. It's halfway through, and you lost the book.
Yeah, but
that's what happened.
I think that's why people care so much about their characters when they're more in a long run campaign, where it's you've invested maybe a year, 2 years playing Sagar, right? And I'm going to use some of the data that we have from our campaign, but he had I don't want to say romantic interest, but a person that was interested in Sagar. Her name was Elsa. I was an NPC, and
what is an NPC?
True. An NPC is a non-playable character, right? So it's basically the computer, which in this case is the DM, and the NPC had a liking to you, and that was part of your story, right? So, like, for example, if you were to come back tragically in a coffin from one of your epic adventures, you had that moment, and then now it's gone, right? So, like, even if you were, obviously it's all made pretend and all that stuff, but even if you were 1 to 10% involved into that story and into that interest and whatever, like, I think, like, that's what makes the character come alive, and what makes it you not wanting to die, right?
That's what I'm lost. That's what I'm saying. I don't want him to die. Yeah, I don't want the character to die because I'm already invested my time and I guess imagination powers into it. So yeah, I want to complete whatever story I'm trying to complete with this guy. So that's why I'm saying that the worst way to go out is being killed, dying, or whatever. Ideally, the best way to go out would be to reach the goal for that character. In the case of Sagar, would have been to just, I guess, get the land that he was owed by this lady that would rescue their family, and starting his own farm.
Yeah.
In that land, whatever happened with Elsa, that was
just byproduct of the story.
Exactly. But his goal was to get the land and whatever, right? So if he would have the opportunity to get to that point, and I mean, you can always make up something to keep it into the story. But if you get to that point and you want to try something new, that would be the best, I guess, the best option to do it, or the best time to do it. Like, okay, he has the farm, he's learning how to be successful at that. Like, I don't know, I want to be, a warlock now. I mean, just, okay, this guy is saying goodbye to the party.
Yeah, and his chapter is completed, right?
Done. Like, come visit me if you want tomatoes, whatever. I become an NPC now.
Yeah.
Like that. I think that's the way I picture it, like going out.
Funny that you mentioned
that's how I say it.
I love when characters later become NPCs if they survive and they retire, right? Because I think, like, it just adds a next level of immersion to the continuity of a story, right?
I mean, nice. Yeah.
But for example, in our party, we had someone that got bored of their character, right? I wouldn't say bored, but they just didn't see their character fitting into the group dynamic, right? So they decided to kind of retire it, right? What are your opinions on that?
That's okay. I think that is okay, and
because I know it came as a shock to you guys.
Yeah,
right?
because we didn't know, and I agree to that. It's okay for each person to make that decision. Like, hey, like, maybe I made, like, the story of this character is limiting too much, because the one that you're referring to was like that. I don't know. It was nuts. It's too weak, but by his own creation, right? So he made it that way.
He had too many flaws. Yeah.
Because that's the way he wanted to play. But looks like at some point it became too limiting. I think that's what happened. And I don't want to continue. It's like, just, okay, I don't want to die either. I don't want to commit suicide.
Yeah.
And I guess die in a battle just because I'm being incompetent at that moment, or I just want to kill this guy, because then maybe if I die in this battle, maybe I will cause the party to be wiped. So it's instead of going that way and being a jerk to everybody else secretly, you just talk to the DM and you're like, hey, maybe in the next section I'm just going my own way, and the one after that coming with a new character. I think that's a fair way to go out.
Honorable way.
Yes, even for him, for the character, and also for the rest of the party.
Yeah.
Because I think that's fair.
I think there's a close to it, and I think if I remember correctly, we haven't played that campaign in a while now. But I think if I remember correctly, we just made him disappear, right? Like, he went into this bar and then never be found. And we kind of left it like that because it was always interesting that it was more like a kidnapping almost, but you guys.
Yeah, I think he went to visit somebody that he knew,
Yeah,
and
then
that's
like,
it.
yeah,
Done.
it could either be like he fell in love and left, or it could be like, oh, he got kidnapped.
Yeah.
Right. And I think as the party, because it wasn't something completely kind of told outright of like, okay, the purpose of this is we're tying to the character. I think you guys had a hard time understanding if it was like if it was a plot hook or if it was like, like, oh, this guy just wants to get rid of his character, right?
Yeah, it was a surprise for sure because we didn't know.
Yeah.
And I think we even like in the session, like we tried to look for like we were forcing to just continue looking for the character because like it was weak, but it was fun.
Yeah, he was very fun.
So like it was, I guess, good to have it in the party, but yeah, we didn't know, and then I don't know how it happened, but I think it was after or even during like, oh no, we're not doing that quest. We want to find this guy.
Yeah.
Like we were just destroying the story and like boycotting the story. I think that would be the word.
It's okay.
And then you say no, like he wants to be done with the guy. So I say, oh what? Yeah. No. So it's a shock for the rest of the party, but it's the player's decision, and I think that's fair. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think players should have complete autonomy of their character, right? Regardless of the party and the dynamics of it all, right? As a DM, it's sometimes it's disheartening because you have like this whole plan and you have like these like character arcs in your head.
Work it out again.
And yeah, like it's kind of like one of those things. It's just kind of like partner.
But in the same way, that's fair. I think that I don't like. And I guess I'm going back to the beginning, but is when, for example, we were starting a campaign everyone at the same time, right?
Yeah.
And everybody was creating their own character, and some people, oh, we need a healer, we need that. I don't care. You do your thing. If you want to be the healer, you be the healer. I want to kill stuff and shit.
Yeah.
So like forcing other like we need a party, we need the healer, we need the tank, we need the
so we
need the frontliner, we need the damage dealer. Like you don't want to force others into what the party needs. Would be great, but the roles are different because everybody's different, right?
Yeah, and I think this is going to make a great next episode where we can really dive into video game tactics versus D&D tactics, right? And I think one of the key things that I see as a DM often is players wanting to play the game of D&D like a video game, right?
I agree to that. I don't know. So we can discuss it next time.
Yeah, I think next episode is gonna be good. But as we kind of close up this episode 4 for you guys, I want to both recap and then ask you one thing, right? We've been talking about a lot how the characters, how difficult it was at the beginning, how some of the information that you got was a little bit too much at the beginning, and I can relate to that too. The first time I did my character was even worse because I did it in paper. I never made you guys suffer through that, but like through paper, it was just so confusing because you had to like flip through the player's handbook and then kind of jot down on the other side, like, okay, like, yeah, I'm going to be one of these. And then like, you kind of kept going up and down. And it's truly gruesome. So that's why I like the builder quite a bit. I'm a huge fan.
I guess it's much better than paper for sure.
Yeah, I'm a huge fan of the builder. I think for me, the builder is an 8 out of 10. I'll give it a little bit more of a score than you. But we talked about a lot about more of like player relations and how players affect their own characters and stuff like that. I want to really pick your brain about how was there a moment or a time that, for example, like the DM, and I know it's kind of against me since I've been your only DM, but
oh no, not really.
Kind of like how they like if they maybe pushed your character a certain way or did you ever feel limited from your character perspective due to the storytelling, aka the DM, or just the situation?
I guess.
How do you feel about like how much impact does the DM have on your character?
A lot. It's the DM. The DM does whatever they want, but I think yes, and that is okay. So the way I looked at it was thinking about it, is that as a new player, and I guess that'll be my only recommendation to people is, I don't know too much about the game, but my only recommendation is do whatever you want, and let the DM tell you no.
Yeah.
Just go with it. I think that's basically what I was doing. So I don't see it as limiting.
Yeah.
I was just exploring the options of the game just to see what can I get. Can I get just okay? If you let me do this, I'll do it for sure. Like the time that I wanted to hack 2 people with 1 swing.
Yeah.
We discussed it for like 3 fucking days, but no, okay. But I asked, like, I have a longsword. Can I slash these 2 people that are sitting one next to the other? I'm just peeking, poking just to see what I can get in order to advance my own agenda, I guess, right?
And giving it your own kind of flavor, right?
I don't see it as limiting. I see it as I guess just setting boundaries of what the universe of this campaign is will allow for the players.
Yeah.
And from the player's perspective, I say, if you want to ask, I don't know, I want to fly now. No, you can't. If they say yes, go for it. Right? Yeah, I mean,
yeah,
you would be. It's like limiting yourself. Like if you think, okay, maybe I want to jump into this guy's back and stab him. Well, and if you don't say it and you say, oh no, that's not possible, then how, like, you wouldn't know if it is possible, because it's the DM's job to tell you, okay, let me see, or you don't have acrobatics or whatever, so you cannot do it. Okay.
Or you just roll for it, right? Like,
or exactly, you can get a challenge and then lucky you do it. But if you don't ask for, or if you don't say, okay, I want to do this, this is my action, the only way to make it see it through is to try it. And then if the DM says no, well, tough luck, but just go for that. So I don't see that's limiting. I think just try.
As a DM, I gotta say though, there are two variables, right? The first variable would be like, is this a established game mechanic, right? So again, like kind of like going back to your longsword deal, there is forget what it's called now. It's not reckless attack, but there is an attack that lets you kind of extend your motion for another 5 feet, right? So, like, is it a game mechanic? Yes or no? And then, can you do it? Yes or no? And then, is it worth it? Right? I think like a lot of the times for me as a DM is it worth it? Am I giving this freebie to the player because it was just really freaking cool to have that moment, right?
Okay, yeah.
So, but I think we think about it a lot from the fighting and mechanics perspective, right? Which again, like you said, you can be like, yeah, I want to, aim for this guy's eye when I shoot my arrow in order for it to be, so that he can be blinded, right? And yeah, you could do that, right? But I think, like, in all fairness, it's like, well, if you think about it, right? If you're trying to aim for a full body, that's a certain AC, right? Like, okay, like how likely are you to hit this main body, right? And then it's like, well, how likely is it for you to hit the main body
in the eye
specifically when everything's moving around and everyone's kind of going, right? So like, I think a lot of players want to like hack the system a lot of the times and say like, oh, like, yeah, I want to like, take advantage of this, right? And to the DM, I think it's a very delicate portion of, allowing or not allowing, or making the necessary adjustments, right? So like, for example, if these guys' AC was a 16 or a 13, then if you want to hit it in the eye, I'm going to bump it up to 19.
Okay, and I would say that's fair. It's like a negotiation. Like the player is supposed to try to do this amazing stuff.
Yeah. Then you need amazing rolls.
Exactly. The enforcer of the rules should say yes or no.
Yeah.
That's so not limiting.
That's what the DMs are.
Part of the dynamic.
Yeah.
I guess created. So yeah.
So the second variable for me is from a role playing perspective, right? So like, what can you get away, or what can you do from a role playing perspective, right? And I think for me, and the advice that I give everyone is actually do the action that you're wanting to do, right? A lot of the players kind of go like, well, I'm going to give this amazing speech so that, they let me go. Let's say you were incarcerated for whatever reason, right?
Okay.
And you go, I want to roll, deception so that I can like have this amazing speech and then convince them to let me go, right? And it's kind of like, as a DM.
Oh, you're saying do it. Like actually
give me the speech.
Oh,
I think it's hard. It's hard, but
yes.
I think like it becomes so much more immersive.
Yeah.
And it gives you that creativity that you're talking about, right? It gives you the creativity of like, well, don't limit yourself because if you give me the full speech, and let's say that that DC check was 19, and DC check is basically a contestment against what your die is gonna come out. So, like for example, if you want to try something, depending on how hard it is, it'll be from 1 to 30. Some people do even 35, but it will be 1 through 30, and then if you succeed, then you succeed in the action that you're taking, and if you don't, then you don't perform that action in a good way, right? So, for me as a DM, depending on the DC, right? If you just tell me, yeah, I'm just gonna give this speech and then I'm gonna try to win them over to let me go, right? That DC is gonna be, let's say, 19.
Okay.
If you give me the speech and the actual speech is freaking bomb, I'm gonna lower that to like 13. Like, right?
What?
Like, because you're convincing.
Yes, but
you're actually convincing me as a DM.
But
which
what,
is the NPC,
what
right?
I would say is, okay, if I give you the performance, the role playing, the immersion. I don't know. Let's not do the role. Go for it. You decide. Are you convinced?
Yeah.
Are the NPCs convinced? And then I'm out. Or because if you're asking for the performance and the role, that's too much.
Well, yeah.
It's way too much.
And you know what? Some DMs do that because sometimes it's like, for example,
if it's just symbolic and you roll a 5, yeah, whatever. It was perfect performance, so I give it to him.
Yeah, but sometimes, because exactly that happens, right? You can give this amazing speech to get out of something, right? And then you roll like a 1, right? And it's kind of like, as a DM, now you got to make something up because this guy just knocked it out of the park with this speech, and then you just got to be like, yeah, they think you're just lying, and then you're like, So obviously there's a little bit of a balance, but I do feel like that mechanic can be so much more powerful in developing of characters. So implore your DM, and as a role playing tool as a player, you lose nothing, right? Like go in and do it. And 2 more things before we wrap up this episode. I think we've been having a lot of fun. Thank you, Pedro, for joining in and being the co-host. I think this is going to be amazing. You guys let us know, like the video if you really like the new dynamic. But one of the things is how do you go about the portion where like your character is a certain way, right? And you as a person are another way, right? So like we call that basically metagaming, right? So when you metagame is something that you shouldn't know, something that your character shouldn't know, your person, Pedro, in this example, and Sagar, right? Sagar doesn't know it, Pedro does know it. And then how do you avoid that, and how is something that, because that can affect a lot of character performance, backstory, and just everything, I think, right?
Like if you leave it to one person, that's hard. So there's a group in the table, just I guess showing the scenario, right? There's a group in at the table.
Yeah.
Something is happening to another player. He's on a different room or on a different part of the room, looking for something. He finds something. You're not supposed to know what he found.
Yeah.
So I guess if you can't avoid it, then you just go for, hey, let me look. That's the easiest one. Like the character doesn't know, but you make him ask for, hey, did you find something? That'll be the cheap way out.
Yeah.
Then I guess it's possible, but if that's not the case, then the way I thought about it is the others need to keep you in check. You need to. So there's needs.
So in check how? Like another person at the table telling you.
Yes, like if I do something that I'm not supposed to do.
Yeah.
Because I don't have the information or something. In that case, like I'm already trying to do something that I'm not supposed to. So I think it is allowed or should be allowed for the other players to say, hey,
come on,
you don't know about that. Yeah. Like you were not present.
I didn't tell you that.
Oh, I didn't tell you. You didn't ask.
Like a lot of the times it happens like when, let's say, a character is like in a library or a group of people are in a library and they pick up a book and then they start to learn.
They get a message of the
yeah,
riches
like,
and whatever.
Yeah, you know, oh, you
Nobody
know, like,
knows.
Yeah, the treasury is here.
Power.
Yeah. I did do that. Yes.
So.
Yeah. Which, by the way, thank you for ignoring that for like a bunch of times.
Well,
that was such a great plot hook, and you just went like, "No, I'm not interested."
I wasn't a land. I wasn't into power. I wanted land.
Yeah.
Into me. So yeah, I think like the table should keep everyone in check.
Yeah.
Like if you're doing something that you're not supposed to do, somebody have to say something like, "Hey, you can do that you didn't know, that information you don't have it, we have it, but you don't have it. I don't know."
Yeah.
You do something to get that information, ask or whatever in the game, but yeah, otherwise, like it is hard because you're supposed to be role playing.
Yeah.
And clearly you hear somebody doing something. Oh, we're gonna get some money, whatever. And then, okay, let's go. Yeah, but you don't actually know about it. So
it's hard.
It is hard when you are role playing. I guess new players have less of a scene. Yes, but I guess the table should keep everyone honest and into the game.
That's interesting. That's an interesting take. I didn't think you were going to go that route, if I'm honest. I thought you were going to say more of like, like it's just a skill that you developed over time or whatever.
Well, you do develop over time.
You do, but I thought that was going to be like your primary answer. But honestly, I love your answer so much more because it's like, let's keep everyone in check, right? And not necessarily the DM. Like,
no,
I love that you
give
that responsibility to the DM of saying like, oh yeah, you don't know that. Yeah. Oh yeah, you don't know. Because like again, as a DM, your primary purpose as a DM is not really to say no. Like right, you're
what?
Your primary purpose is to kind of like be like try to enable as much as you can, right? So obviously, like if you're like, oh yeah, I'm gonna cast this 10th level spell, you're like, well, no, come on. But like if they go and say like I want to like hijack this bank, all right, like you're not gonna say like no, it has too many guards. No, you're gonna let them try, and if they fail, right? That is what it is. And then the last thing I want to talk about in terms of our D&D experience and character building is we talked a lot about different things today, and I think we went on some tangents that were really fun to explore. But if you had to summarize this episode in maybe 3 or 4 points, what would be your advice for character building to our audience, and maybe how to get through some of the difficulties that you have?
Well, I guess everything I say, take it with a pound of salt because my experience.
Not a pound.
Yeah, my experience is limited. I have only created 2 characters.
Yeah.
Easy ones, a rogue and a fighter. But from what you said, use the app. It's much easier. It's not perfect, but much easier than doing it in paper. And just create your own story, right?
Yeah.
Like start with whatever you want to do, and then just include some quirks just to make it interesting. Don't build Superman because it's going to be boring.
Yeah.
That only works on One Punch Man, so nowhere else.
Yeah.
And that's one, I guess, the story, the quirks, and I don't know. The third one, character building. I don't know. I think those 2. The story, those 2.
I think
use the app and story and quirks just to make it interesting. That should be enough. Oh, and a goal. Have a goal. Have an end goal. Have an end goal for your character. And if you reach it, then you decide if you want to retire him, continue, but have a goal. Otherwise, it's just like an RPG game that has no end.
Yeah.
Like if
you're building a story. Right?
Yes, if the story have no end, it's just always in the developing. Like I'm not gonna take this shot, but if it is, if it is always just going and going, then it becomes at some point it's gonna become boring, and you will lose interest in the character, the story, in gaming, even in gaming. So I think end goal should be.
So what I call those moments is anchoring. So like you need anchor moments, right? When you're getting a little bit too into the whole picture kind of a deal, right? Like, this massive kind of map, let's say, that you have to explore. I try to like anchor you through like something that you like, or anchor you through like a character interaction or an NPC, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think NPCs are such a great tool to do that. And we can discuss that in a future episode. We're going to take the last kind of 5 minutes to do, I guess, the secondary purpose of this podcast, which we love to talk about business. We love to talk about money. Not only in gold coin like Sagar, but part of the podcast, I've always wanted to kind of make it what our experience has been. Pedro, like I mentioned, has his own business called Prime Layers. We do Chaotic Studios, and I think I want to keep it to a relative topic, which is building a character, right? To me, in the business world, you kind of have to build a character, right? You have to be this person. You have to kind of like be this not a unauthentic version of yourself, but you have to kind of develop certain character traits, right? You have to kind of be like, develop the discipline, develop the drive, develop the product, listen to people and what your market wants, right? So I think like, battle with your own insecurities, just like a character, right? So, first I want you to share your experience and I'll share mine, but through some of the stuff that you did for Prime Layers, like what does that character look like? What is, and this could be something super big or super small, like, like what does that character look like? You can tell us more about like maybe what are some of the tough days, and or if you want to share glory stories, like, and just kind of like what motivates you as a character in your own business world. Maybe that you can take that route.
Okay. So, oh my God. I guess it's not a motivational story because the business is still small.
Of course, yeah.
Small. We dream of glory and money and whatever.
Glory and riches.
But being honest, like the business is still, I guess, in the first steps.
Yeah, I think
becoming whatever.
I think Prime Layers is still in a development kind of stage. Yeah.
So I guess the character is still learning to work in the business environment, lacking in sales ability mainly, and that marketing. What else? So I'll say it's undeveloped character. That's what I'll say.
It can feel like that, right? It feels like you rolled below a 10 in your character sheet.
I'll say below a 5
when it comes to certain abilities, right?
Yes.
Like it's tough, man.
It is. The thing is, a small business, you're trying to do everything on your own.
Yeah.
So I guess in my case, I know a little more of the technical side of things, creating the product, whatever, designing that stuff. But marketing, selling, social media, creating engagement, reaching the audience that you want to reach in order to convert and make the sales.
Yeah, that's like the dragon, right? Like that's like slaying that dragon. It's rough.
It's too much. Yeah. So being one person, it is like you need to, I guess, use different hats. And when you're trying to go into one area that is not your forte, it just takes longer, right?
Yeah.
So the character is in the ICU.
Under construction.
Work in progress. Yes, that's what I say. But it is the process. I guess if you're not willing to go through that process, it's either
you buy into it, which is incredibly expensive.
Yes, or you just do something else.
Yeah.
Those are the options, right? I don't know. Tell me about your experience, your character.
Yeah. So I think
Javierino.
No, I think, man, it's tough, right? Like I think that wearing multiple hats, like you said, is challenging, right?
Yeah.
And your character develops so quickly when you're in the trenches like that, right? I remember that when I
if you put the work.
Because of course it doesn't happen magically.
Time goes into it, so you need to put the work in order to develop, in order to master all these skills. If you're not putting the work,
I feel like my character, I would have a character flaw of just pure anxiety all the time. Because like man, it's thankfully my livelihood doesn't really depend on Chaotic Studios, but I would like it for it to be one day, right? So like developing that character of just going like, okay.
Oh, you want it to happen faster than.
Yeah, it's just like and not only that, but that anxiety of, is this the right business? Am I following the right model? Is like, am I doing the same thing? Like, do I have enough discipline? Yeah. Like, am I not doing social media engagement like properly? Right? All these things kind of race through your head, or at least my head and my character head, and I've had to develop this persona or this character that tries not to care. Tries to be like, I'm just gonna step another step, right? And kind of go
one by one
through that, right? And I feel like in my personal life, it's a different character, right? Like I think that the Javier from work, the Javier from Chaotic Studios, and the Javier from like my personal life with my fiance is 3 different characters. And it's a little bit, they overlap, of course.
Maybe that's what I'm lacking. That's what I need, because I'm just lazy in all of those 3.
No, you're not lazy. But yeah, I mean, like it's wild, right? It's wild when you start to think about it, and when you really try to adapt, right? Because I mean, even today, right? Like, I mean, I think like your character today is very brave, right? Because you, after me badgering you for maybe 2 weeks, you actually signed on to do this project with us, with me, or us as a group, right? And it's brave, right? Like, not everyone can just get in front of a camera and just be like, yeah, let's just talk it out, right? And
I mean, that's the thing. I'm talking. Like, no, we're just talking. Like, so, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I think like in the terms of business and just character building, it's just like D&D. Roll your stats and try to develop the ones that
Well, the stats are already predefined. Because you have your own personality, your own
biases, your own
strength. Yeah. Like people know more about marketing, people know more about designing or whatever. So I guess the stats are there. I guess try to get the other ones that you're missing. Right?
Well, I think like similar to D&D, I think like that's the beauty about having a party, right? Chaotic Studios leaned onto Prime Layer and your expertise very early on, right? Like, again, Pedro helped us design these cases, right? These dice cases. It was based on a couple of joint ideas plus his expertise. I wouldn't have been able to do that, and it has been one of my most popular products from our Chaotic Studios lineup, right? So having a party, having that other person that steps in and has those other skill sets, I think it's incredibly important. Just like a healer is part of a party that may have all melee characters.
Yeah, it's an advantage to have resources to use. It's an advantage.
Yeah.
Like if you're solo, I mean, if you put in the work, you're eventually gonna get there. But who knows how long it's gonna take? So having a party, having resources to use for different things is a multiplier for just to advance.
100%.
But that also requires some skills.
Yeah.
People skills. Leadership skills. So it is
drive. I think drive is a huge
drive,
one,
motivation.
Right?
So yeah.
So yeah, I think we're gonna leave it at that for today. We're gonna do our roll for insight check. So Pedro, this is what we do. We're gonna try. I usually have a list, but let's just wing it. We're gonna try to give advice, or not necessarily advice, but maybe just a tad of wisdom based on the role. If it's a 1, we want to be as crude and kind of tough love deal. And this could be either D&D related, business related, kind of like stuff that we talked about. Or if it's a 20, you know, it's more of a go-getter attitude of like anyone can build a business, right? Kind of a deal. So let's give this a roll.
What was the topic?
All right, did I start with anything?
Oh,
Anything you can think of, life, business experience, D&D. It's a 2. It's a 2. So I'll start so that you know, maybe you can see a little bit on.
Yeah, go for it.
So on a 2, more towards the tough love, I would say that not every business or not every character is worth keeping, right? So really put that into a table, write down your pros and cons, and try to see if this is a worthy adventure for you to embark on.
Okay. Can I say it in Spanish and you translate?
Sure.
Let me see. Hay un límite a la, no, ¿cómo se llama? Hay un límite a la perseverancia. La perseverancia en un punto puede ser negativa.
Yeah.
So know how to.
Yeah. So Pedro was saying that there's a limit to perseverance, right? And that sometimes once you break that limit, perseverance becomes a negative trait, right? So again, this is kind of when you try hard and then you try too hard and then you keep trying on something that has continuously shown you that
it's
has
not
failed,
gonna work. Yeah.
right? So yeah, definitely. That's a good one. Keep your head above the water, guys. And with that, this has been Behind the Chaos with your co-hosts
Pedro
and Javier. We'll see you next time.
Wow.
That was not bad.
That's good.